Hello everyone, name's Poppet, and I'm a part of the Nightfall server. Someone on my other video, Negating Cube Tutorial, asked me how Zero will support other weapons. Since there's a few ways he'll support the weapon, I'm going to show you one being the omnium cube trick, which if you get about 5 of them, you can basically take a damage route and just keep racking up damage because it's going to shoot out those omnium cubes as soon as you switch to a different weapon. Another trick you'll be able to do is his omnium pillar trick. So it's going to launch you up in the air and you're not really going to have much stamina cost because it's its own type of launch. It's just going to leap you up in a way. At that point, you can actually take advantage of the fall attack on any weapon, or you can just keep yourself suspended in the air and just keep slashing away as it pulsates and racks up more damage. So like I mentioned before, you're really just going to love him because he's more attack-based. He's not really heal-based like other support weapons. He does have the support class, which comes in handy if you just want to take the support class route. You don't have to stick to elements, but since he's also fire, you can go to an elemental route. You can go a few ways with him, and his pillar is something that you're just going to love because it pulsates and makes its own damage, like I've mentioned before. Since it leaps you up, you really don't have to use much stamina like I just did with Meryl. Literally no stamina was used with that fall attack. You can also stack up the shields if you happen to have another weapon that has shields, which I'm hoping Meryl won't be the only one with her own shield, like we'll have other weapons with shields. I don't have Huma that high leveled right now, but she will be there soon. So maybe she'll come with her own type of shield. But she does come with a fun little bleed effect that comes in handy if you happen to have Zero's pillar out, which the pillar will knock back and you can just cause them to bleed at that point. And I really love how Cobalt's works with this because no stamina again, but it also causes a 1 jump effect. You see, it's really just fun, and you can stand behind it as it takes damage and keeps the enemy from coming to you. So like I said, he's very supportive of other weapons, and since his skill is more supportive of other relics, you can also take advantage of those. So you really don't have to go the fire route, you can go the class route, which is support, and since he's more attack-based, he'll be doing more damage, but you're really going to love the other support weapons because if you happen to have Coco at 1 star, she's just going to rack up those charge points. And at that point, you can just keep switching to Zero's omnium cubes because it's going to summon 5 out immediately. And it's really fun because he's just going to keep taking damage. Well, I guess I should say making damage at this point. For me, he was always a very fun weapon at 0 stars just because he racks up so much damage no matter what you do. And it's really kind of interesting because the other support weapons, they didn't really have that for me and they were kind of slow for me. But I did come to love them over time, and especially Nemesis. But I feel like when it comes to like a good weapon, like you want a weapon to support your teammates, support yourself, support your relics since we have those, and you also want something to support other weapons, which Zero does pretty damn fine with. As you can see, you can go different type of weapons. You don't have to stick to an element, you don't have to even stick to anything, you can just go work with a class. Which right now DPS would be pretty handy, and these weapons will just keep racking up those damage points if you ever want, you know? And that pillar will prevent enemies from running to you, so you can easily just use that as like a little blockage in their path. And this will also work on bosses. It's maybe not going to work on every boss, especially when it comes to Barbossa, because he will leap over it, but it will help still because it's going to make it a little glitchy for him, I guess I should say. So you have one weapon to rack up charge points, another weapon to rack up damage, and another weapon to rack up support points. Which is why I really love him. He's not heal-based, he's attack-based. So there we have it. We have the no-cost stamina leap, sort of. Some weapons will cost a lot of stamina. But then you also have the pillar that's just going to stand in the enemy's way as you switch over to a different weapon or create distance for yourself. And then you also have support with the shield Because a shield, you can just stack up shields, you know, create a nice little defense, and since his shield's going to amplify your attack and your teammate's attack, it's pretty nice and handy. One other thing that I'm going to quickly mention here is that you really want to take advantage of the suspended leap, because you can really just rack up damage if you have certain weapons that work better in the air, and then you can also work with weapons that's going to work better with distance, basically. Just gonna let it rack up the charge points real quick, and as soon as you switch to another weapon, those omnium cubes are just gonna fly out and attack the enemy. And it's kind of fun because it doesn't matter how high the enemy is or how low the enemy is, you can still reach them. He doesn't have perfect range, he just has like a decent, slight amount of range. And it's kind of fun to take advantage of. But as far as supporting weapons goes, he does very well with. And it doesn't matter what type of weapon you're working with. He doesn't have to be fire. It could be a class type. Or you can just go with a whole bunch of random stuff and see what the game's going to give you for class. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but there are about 2 types of bleed effects, which you're going to kind of love when it comes to Zero if you ever want to use him with a full fire team. I'd say King has only like a normal bleed effect, but Huma would have a gush effect because she creates lava. And if you mix those 3 weapons together, you get pulsate knockback, you get bleed, and then you also get gush, which is just really fun. And you rack up so much damage and you prolong the attacks because the bleed and the gush really just draws out the fire attack more, which Zero doesn't have a bleed, but he does have more knockback of, which you can knock little enemies back, then you can bleed the semi-mediums, and then you can just gush out the bigger ones. But again, you really don't have to stick to the fire elemental resonance, because you're going to need a limited weapon for that elemental resonance. So you can stick with DPS, you can stick with support, or you can even go with the tank, but preferably I'd use them for like DPS or support classes. Not really tank, because tanks really take a lot of damage and you're going to want a better support weapon for that. There is so much you can do with this game. You can just have so much fun with the MMO interactions. You can go a full DPS route, or you can take different... Hold on. I made my character bald. Alright. Okay. My character is bald. Alright. What was I saying? What? I mean, yeah, there's a lot you can do for this game. You don't have... You really don't have to go any type of route, really. You can just play the game as much as you want, as little as you want, any way you want, for whatever reason you want, and it's just going to be a really fun game because you have a lot to do, and they're coming out with more updates and more things to do, which I'm really excited about the underwater one because I really want more MMO interactions for an MMO game. Come on! Hoda Studios, come on! This is an MMO and a gacha, but right now you've just got dozens of gachas. Like, give us more MMO. I want to go fishing. I want to chop some wood down. I want to steal from more people. Like, we can't loot Miraria, man. We can't loot. We gotta be able to loot this place. There's so much stuff you can check, but you just won't let us. But I really do hope that we get more things to do when it comes to the MMO. Like, I want to chop a tree down. I want to go fishing. I want to make my own house and goth it out. Who doesn't? Who doesn't want that type of personalization? Alright everybody, I had really fun making these videos and doing this, so hopefully we get to do some more. I'm planning on uploading a few more tutorials for like every weapon that I have. I only don't have Saki and I don't have Frigg, but the main reason why is because I just didn't have money, and I personally didn't really like Saki. which is fine. I'm hoping to get Lynn though, so bye everyone!